Oh, listen, there's one other thing I wanted to ask you about. The fellow that Lessing worked with, Dr. Murchison, I can't find him, and I was wondering whether you can help me. Apparently, he goofed up on some expensive project that he was working on. Gee, I've seen this picture every day for 12 years. You're a beautiful woman. At any rate, I've got Dr. Murchison's telephone number, and I've called him, but haven't had any luck. Can you help me?
Well, just try the nearest saloon. I'm sure that's the only place he's welcome anymore.
Oh, there's one more thing, sir. Mr. Hart is in Rome. He's going to be back in his hotel room in a little while. Before I talk to him, were you really playing chess the other night?
Lieutenant, let's get it straight right now. I was not with Leo Hart the other night. But I wasn't busy killing my wife either.
Oh, one other thing. In regard to your practice of recording people's comments after the screening, what is that, like a question-and-answer period? I mean, the people in the audience, they raise their hands and they ask questions, and you stand up there on the stage and you answer them?
No, usually we meet in the lobby. We discuss the film there, and I record their comments. That's all.
Oh, you do it in the lobby?
Yes.
Oh, fine. Gee, now that's peculiar.
What is peculiar?
No, it's peculiar that you would walk into the lobby. I see a man that was lying on the floor. He just got shot in the middle of all that excitement. Turn on a tape recorder.
Well, did it occur to you that I might have turned the tape recorder on before I went into the lobby, before I ever saw the body? As a matter of fact, I think I turned it on directly after screening.
Well, that explains it. Thank you very much. Oh, one more thing. The next time you see Mrs. O'Connor, will you tell her something for me? My nephew won 2 prizes the other day. Second prize for a needlepoint contest. First prize for weightlifting. Oh, Doctor?
Yes?
One more thing. I was just curious whether there was anyone around here that you know of that might have a motive to do this kind of thing to Professor Nicholson.
No, Howard's a difficult man. He offended a great many people, including me, but murder? Now, if you ask me, my guess is that the killer is a complete outsider.
Well, I'm sure you're right about that, sir, and I certainly intend to investigate that possibility. But if you don't mind, I'd just like to poke around your institute.
Anything you say, Lieutenant. We'd like to help in any way we can. We're deeply shocked by this brutal murder. The sooner it's solved, the better.
I'm going to do my best, sir. One thing. About that accident, do you happen to know who else was involved?
It's a couple from El Monte, Mr. and Mrs. Morgan. Why?
Well, you see, I didn't know, I just wasn't sure whether it was just one person in the other car or whether there was more than one. And no, I was just telling your attorney that I wasn't sure whether there was just one person in the other car or whether there was more than one. And when you said that you were relieved that those people, more than one, when you were relieved that those people called your insurance man, I thought maybe the blackout was starting to clear up and you were beginning to remember what happened.
Perhaps he is. Subconsciously.
That's probably it. Is subconscious. One other thing, Mrs. Halpern. The Caldwell house is on the next block, is it?
Yes, right across the street. Number 1278.
Yeah, I know the address. I was there this morning. I was just trying to visualize the proximity. Thank you. Oh, Mr. Janis, just one more thing, please.
I thought you had a clock to punch.
I do. I'm leaving right now. It's about Mrs. Stafford. I understand that you and she had a little disagreement in a restaurant last night.
Have you been following me, Columbo?
No. What happened was this. Mrs. Stafford came down to headquarters this morning. She spoke to some of the fellows in the other division.
What other division?
Bunco.
Bunco?
Yes, sir. Made a lot of wild accusations about you, about your operation. Now it's clear Mrs. Stafford is a very inexperienced businesswoman.
How's that, Lieutenant?
The way you run your business operation. I spoke to Mr. Lacey. He's somewhat of an expert on business.
And I suppose he called me a crook.
No, sir, he never said that. He said, and he repeated this. He said, technically, you're within the law. Of course, I can understand how Mrs. Stafford and even Mr. Stafford, how they could get upset over some of the things that are going on around here.
That's enough, Columbo. I'm tired of your accusations and your innuendos.
Well, all I'm trying to do is determine the facts, sir.
If you have anything to say to me, you say it through my attorney. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And be damn sure you know what you're talking about.
Oh, one more thing. Gee, I almost forgot what I came here to ask you.
Fortunately, you remembered.
As you're an expert on restaurants, sir, I wanted to ask you, do you know anything about the Restaurant Developers Association?
I don't know anything about it, Lieutenant. I've never heard of it. Have you?
No. No, Lieutenant, I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right, ma'am. As the Chinese say, there's more than one fish in the sea. Oh, just one more thing, sir. I was thinking, in banks, they always have 2 cameras to cover any area. No offense, but I don't understand why you went to all this trouble to put in this system, but you only put in 1 camera, leaving part of the room uncovered.
We only wanted to cover the safe. We expected a thief, not a murder.
Of course. Yes, I see your point. Sorry to have disturbed you, sir.
Good night.
One more thing, sir. I almost forgot. One more thing that I wanted to check on. Probably not important. Could you excuse us? That phone call that Deschler made the morning after your wife was taken, we checked on that. And the call was definitely made by Deschler from his motel room.
Yes, Lieutenant.
But I was talking to your housekeeper, Mrs. Moylan, and she tells me that your meeting with that man was set for 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How much time elapsed between the exchange of shots and your getting to the phone booth to call the police?
Well, it all happened very quickly. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Well, now, your phone call was received at police headquarters at 5:45. That's recorded. So that places your meeting with Mr. Deschler at around 5:30. That's very hard for me to understand. Oh, one more thing, sir. We got something else on the gun. Did I mention that?
No, you didn't. What, Lieutenant?
A thread, sir.
From the parka?
No, sir. We haven't traced the garment from which the thread came from yet, sir.
Lieutenant, if I were you, I'd get a search warrant for all 4 people involved.
Yes, sir. That's just exactly what I've done, sir. In fact... Oh, Mr. Derwin. Just one more thing, sir.
Yes, Lieutenant.
I hate to bother you. Could I borrow a dime?
A dime?
A dime, sir.
A dime, sir.
Just one more thing.